to see everybody.
Zach, what are you looking for when these OTA workouts, specifically? How are they different? Maybe what you're looking for compared to phase 1 and phase 2?
It's not a lot different. We can do 11 on 11. So as you see, we get more plays going against each other. And really the basics: communication, alignment, urgency, not making the same mistake twice. So it's good. You sit in the classroom and you go through all this stuff and you think you got it. Then you get there on the field, you got to process it in real time. It's a little bit different. Again, this isn't training camp. This is the regular season, but it is good to start to get that chemistry and camaraderie together. And then we do the 7-on-7 live, so guys get more reps to actually throw against the defense and try to cover these receivers. And so I think it's good work for us.
How good is it for Joe to get these 7-on-7 reps? How beneficial is that given kind of him coming back from the injury? How does that make him evaluate or change when you evaluate his 7-on-7 reps?
It doesn't change how I evaluate his reps. I'm evaluating all the guys, and so I think it's good just for the team to get out here and get reps together. This is about being able to start training camp the right way. So putting ourselves in a position from a mental and physical standpoint, let's get in great shape. Let's understand the expectations. Mentally prepare ourselves with the scheme. We get some reps in it. We get the install done a couple times. So when we show up in late July for training camp, that these guys have the best shot to go compete and earn a roster spot.
What were your expectations for Joe coming into this offseason period, and how do you think he's done?
Well, unknown. Until you've seen him throw, it's hard to say this is what we expect. So obviously there's a lot of conversation with him, just making sure we're not overdoing anything. He's always been a great communicator. Our training staff does a great job with Matt Summers and Nick Cosgray and all those guys. So I feel like it's been a really good offseason for Joe.
To the naked eye, Zach, it looks like Joe's throwing the ball well. To your well-trained eye, how does he look?
I feel really good about where he's at, so again, I didn't set the bar for expectations. He's been accurate. He's been on time. He's throwing with great velocity and power. You'd have to ask him what he thinks of his performance exactly, but I like what I see right now.
Do you notice a difference in him trying to pace himself more this offseason?
No. I've seen him. He puts in the work. He puts in the work behind the scenes that people don't see, getting ready for practice with the trainers. And so, again, he does a real good job preparing himself for practice.
You said on Dan and Lap's podcast that you were taking a step back this offseason. Is that normal for you at this point in the offseason? And is pitcher doing more than Brian? Or I guess what's kind of behind you saying that?
I think every offseason, again, we haven't had extensive offseasons, so there wasn't a lot to evaluate this last couple of years, but it's my time to spend more time with the defense and let the offensive coordinator call the reps during practice and talk to the quarterback. And it's good for me, again, to get to know the defense players better, sit in those meetings, not devote all the time and energy in the offense, and take more of a head coaching role. And so that's always exciting for me. I always learn a lot being over there with the defense. I always like being around those guys more, and then kind of sitting back and observing the offense. But still in all the meetings, still got my own ideas and expectations, and we do all that as we meet as coaches. But out here on the field, get a chance to be more of the head coach and spend more time with the defense.
What was your take? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Obviously, these are voluntary, but with Jamar and T not being here, is that going to, do you think, delay anything with Joe in terms of, or do you feel like they have so many banked reps that it's not that big of a deal?
No, I think that they'll get the work in at the necessary time. And please, we have a high turnout for voluntary workouts. I told the guys, I understand it's voluntary. I appreciate them showing up. The guys that don't are still working hard elsewhere. And they'll be back at the right times. And so, and the beauty is we know those guys, we know what they're about, and that they'll be ready and focused when it's time to come back.
What are your first impressions of the new kickoff?
It'll be interesting. There's a lot to work through. Darren and Ben have done a great job evaluating all the opportunities it could bring. There's certainly going to be a feeling out process when we get to training camp and we're doing it live, and there's some unknowns with it, but I trust Darren's put in the work as much as you could possibly imagine to make sure that we're prepared to give ourselves an advantage when the season takes shape.
Just from the naked eye to you, just looking at it from a head coach, I mean, it looks like it's going to be an impact. You're going to have more flat out returns, right?
Yeah, I think so. Well, yeah, you're certainly going to have more returns. You have to. It'll be interesting. I think it'll be a fun element to see how it plays out.
How much communication do you have with Jamar as he's working on this line? What's that like? Do you leave that up to Troy? Do you get involved? Like, how do you?
Both of us, we touch base. I don't call those guys every day. I'm not trying to wear them out. But again, they do an excellent job when I reach out, quickly getting back to me. making sure we're in communication, making sure we know where everybody's at on the process, and everything has been really positive with all those guys that aren't here.
How is the running back room shaping up this offseason, the first one post Joe Mixon?
I think it's going to be a good room to watch in training camp. I'm excited to have Zach Moss. I'm excited to see Chase Brown continue to have a bigger role, Travion and Chris, and then we got some new guys in the mix as well. So I think training camp will be fun to really evaluate those guys.
How important is this for rookies and first-year players? Just assimilating to your program and actually being on the field.
It's a chance for everybody to start fresh in training camp. And so, again, for the rookies, there's going to be some things that are new to them, unknown to them. This is a chance to take it all in. We're not going 11 on 11 full speed where everything's dissected. So you really get a chance, I think, to do it the way that we feel is best, to give those guys every opportunity to go compete and let their talent show once training camp rolls around.
Just talking about the competition in the running back room. I mean, you have some battles at certain positions that you haven't in the last couple of years, and you have new obviously. Has it been kind of exciting for you this off season as opposed to the others where you kind of knew what to expect? Right?
I think change is exciting. It makes you a little bit uncomfortable and forces you to do new things and look at things a different way. And I think that's what's been great about Dan Pitcher. He's got his own ideas and ways that it can take shape. He's excited. There's a bunch of energy there. And so it's been fun watching him with the position battles you're mentioning. It's always good to see guys you haven't got to see play the role. Chase was a rookie last year, so now you get to see him in year 2. He knows the expectations. Zach's been with 2 other really good teams, and so it's been good to get him in the mix. So I'm really excited, again, to keep watching these guys in the spring, but training camp is going to be fun for us.
Back to the running backs, do you feel like Zach and Chase have complementary skill sets?
I do, yeah. I think they're really strong in a lot of different areas and similar areas. There's a lot of crossover there, but I'm excited about the mix that we have in the running back room and what we've done in the offseason to bring Zach in the fold, and I think we're in a good spot there.
Given the schematics of like who's running offense, who's involved in the offense, has your personal philosophy changed on 11 versus 12 personnel? Has it still been pretty similar?
I think we evolve every single year, and we'll evolve with our personnel and the skill sets that we have as a unit that can really put pressure on the defense. And whether that's putting more tight ends on the field or less tight ends on the field, we'll continue to evaluate that over the entire offseason training camp.
How do I know a lot of people will just see like you're saying all the time. What is that? How much more dynamic? What is the biggest difference when you're taking a receiver out and putting a tight end in? How does that make a change?
It can depend on how we utilize it. We can depend on how the defense reacts. Are they going to play base to 12? Are they going to play nickel to 12? And so there's a lot of things that you got to see as the game plays out and how a team's going to view your 2 tight ends on the field. And those are things that we evaluate every single week when we're playing an opponent.
With T and Jamar, obviously they know this offense. They've been around for a long time. But with Sheldon, with Trent, guys that are new here, is that a hurdle for them to not be here at this time and get that head start?
I think there will be plenty of time when they're here where they get a chance to make sure that they're familiar with it. They have the information, so I know that they're staying on top of it. And when they get here and are able to get those reps, I know that those 2 guys are vets and they'll be in a real good spot. All right, thank you all.
Thank you, Zach.